We also got this delightful advance in this story from the Wall Street Journal, which exclusively reported that the actual kid, the actual person who Donald Trump and Elon Musk had let into the Treasury payment system, the actual person is this person. Quote, a key DOGE staff member who gained access to the Treasury Department central payment system resigned today after he was linked to a deleted social media account that advocated racism and eugenics. A 25-year-old who is part of a cadre of Elon Musk lieutenants deployed by DOGE to scrutinize federal spending resigned after the Wall Street Journal asked the White House about his connection to the account. The account posted in July, quote, just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. The account wrote on Twitter in September, quote, you could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity. In reference to a post noting the prevalence of people from India in Silicon Valley, the account wrote, again in September, quote, normalize Indian hate. After the Wall Street Journal inquired about the account, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said that the young man had resigned from his role. Again, this is one of the Elon Musk lieutenants, one of his, bad news bears, who specifically was allowed access to the most sensitive payment system in the entire U.S. government, the one that sends out more than 90% of all payments for all things from the United States Treasury. This was that specific kid. And here's my favorite part of this reporting from the Wall Street Journal. After this, the Wall Street Journal uncovers what this kid has said. I was racist before it was cool. You could not pay me to marry outside my ethnicity. Normalize Indian hate. After the Wall Street Journal turns up that stuff from this kid, the Journal then does, there's then an interview, with Bloomberg, in which Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, quote, defended the work of DOGE employees appended to the Treasury Department, describing them as, quote, highly trained professionals. That's why he gave them access to the most sensitive payment system in the entire U.S. government that partisan political actors have never had access to before in the history of this country. It's because he checked. They're highly trained professionals. Normalize Indian hate. At Wired tonight, we learn about another of Elon Musk's JV team, these highly trained professionals that are very trusted by the U.S. Treasury Secretary. This is from Wired.com tonight, quote, a young technologist known online as Big Balls, who works for Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, has access to sensitive U.S. government systems. Highly trained professionals. However, his professional and online history call into question whether he would pass the background check typically required to obtain security clearances, according to security experts who spoke with Wired. Quote, one of the companies he founded, which is called Tesla.sexy LLC, controls dozens of web domains, including at least 2 that are registered in Russia. One of those domains, which is still active, offers a service called Helfy, which is an AI bot for Discord servers targeting the Russian market. Someone using a Telegram handle linked to the young man also solicited a cyber attack for hire service in 2022. At Path Network, the young man worked as a systems engineer. Path has at times listed as employees Eric Taylor, also known as Cosmo the God, a well-known former cybercriminal and member of the hacker group Eugenics, as well as Matthew Flannery, an Australian convicted hacker whom police allege was a member of the hacker group LulzSec. So these are the highly trained professionals. That was the exact phrase from Trump Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. This is the team that he's decided it's totally fine to give them complete access to the highest security systems in the whole U.S. government, including the ones that have your social security number, your personal identifying information, your bank account information, potentially your health information. They're highly trained professionals. Why wouldn't they be given everything? CNN reports tonight, quote, a 23-year-old representative from Elon Musk's Doge was granted access to the Energy Department's IT system yesterday by Energy Secretary Chris Wright. This despite objections from people in the Department of Energy, which controls access to information about U.S. nuclear weapons. I don't know if you worry about nuclear weapons. I don't know. I don't know if you worry about the safety of your Social Security number and your bank account. I mean, everybody has their own, things that keep them up at night, right? Do you ever worry about, like, air traffic control? Our nation's new transportation secretary, who until a few weeks ago was a weekend host on the Fox Business Channel, he announced today that this crew, operated by Elon Musk, this is the group to whom he's handing over the national system that we have in the United States for air traffic control. He's letting them, quote, plug in to the system to fix it. Because who among us doesn't feel better about having a 19-year-old with links to Russia and famous criminal hackers who goes by the online handle Big Balls in charge of American air traffic control?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Backroom Brief. Here we break down the biggest stories shaping our nation. I'm your host, Drew Pearson, and tonight we have an explosive revelation that's rocking Washington. A secretive team, handpicked by Elon Musk, backed by Donald Trump, and granted access to some of our government's most sensitive financial systems, is now under scrutiny. Who are these people? What exactly are they doing inside the Treasury Department? And why is one of them resigning after being exposed as an open advocate for racism and eugenics? Buckle up, because this story is just beginning. Let's start with the basics. The U.S. Treasury Department manages over 90% of federal payments. We're talking Social Security, military salaries, government contracts, the whole financial backbone of America. And yet, somehow, a 25-year-old technologist, part of Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, was given access to this vital system. But that's not all. The Wall Street Journal uncovered that this individual had a secret past on social media, where he openly promoted racist ideologies, stating, and I quote, "I was racist before it was cool and normalized Indian hate." After the Journal confronted the White House about his past, this individual resigned. But the bigger question remains, how did someone with these views, with no substantial vetting, gain access to our nation's financial nerve center? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent defended Musk's Doge team, calling them highly trained professionals. But let's look at the facts. According to an exclusive report by Wired, another member of this team, known online as Big Balls, has connections to cybercriminals and hacker groups. He even founded a company registered in Russia and ran an AI bot targeting Russian markets. Security experts have raised alarm bells. This person likely wouldn't even pass a standard background check for a federal job. Yet, somehow, these individuals are being handed the keys to the kingdom, managing government data that includes Social Security numbers, personal banking details, and even classified financial transactions. The backlash has been swift. A federal judge in New York has now issued an emergency injunction blocking Musk's team from accessing Treasury databases, citing grave national security risks. This came after 19 Democratic attorneys general filed a lawsuit demanding an immediate review of the program. Elon Musk, never one to back down, responded furiously on social media, claiming that the Treasury's existing payment approval process was broken and that his team was simply fixing a corrupt system. But so far, he has provided no evidence to support these claims. What we do know is that this legal fight is far from over. As Congress ramps up investigations, subpoenas may soon fly, and we could see high-profile hearings that bring the scandal into the national spotlight. What comes next? So, where does this leave us? Well, tonight we have more questions than answers. How deep does this rabbit hole go? Who vetted these individuals before they were granted access to critical government systems? And if they were already embedded in Treasury, how many other agencies have been compromised? We're also learning that another Doge team member, a 23-year-old with no security clearance, was granted access to IT systems inside the Department of Energy, which, let me remind you, holds classified information about U.S. nuclear weapons. If this story is making you uneasy, you're not alone. Folks, this is the kind of recklessness that demands accountability. Our democracy depends on transparency, and right now, we're seeing a government that is handing over its most sensitive systems to unvetted individuals, some with deeply troubling pasts. I'll be following this case closely, and you can bet there's more to come. If you have thoughts, questions, or insider tips, send them my way. That's it for tonight's episode of Backroom Brief, a Washington expose. If you found this report valuable, share it, subscribe to the show, and let's keep the pressure on for answers. Until next time, stay informed, stay vigilant, and keep questioning. I am your host, Drew Pearson,